Okay, Pam, so we're going to do, maybe we have time to do two more questions. The first question would be the act of, when we're in a group and the act of discussion amongst ourselves goes into the consciousness of the conscious soul incarnate of humanity. Do you want to speak a little bit about that?
I do. Whenever we meditate, whenever we get a lesson and meditate, all of that meditation goes out to humanity. The concept that has been given in the lesson goes out to humanity because we have that alignment with the three masters. It goes through our group and out to humanity. Now, the conscious soul incarnate, whenever it's like the conscious soul incarnate is a state of consciousness throughout humanity, so that when we, as the conscious soul incarnate, are projecting something out to humanity, that conscious soul incarnate in humanity is going to pick that up.
Right.
Now, the masters can overshadow, but what we get in our contemplation, our discussion, and so on, that goes into that level of consciousness. Like we are a group, and this particular group is a state of consciousness.
Right.
Like anyone who has read The Nature of the Soul is a state of consciousness.
Right.
They have read all of the lessons, they understand it to a degree,
Yeah.
and so anything that they receive of that nature is accepted by that level.
Right, so it's a step down version.
And if we are sending these projections out to humanity every time we receive a new lesson,
Yes.
it goes into the overshadowing of humanity, into and subtly goes down through the levels into the mental, the astral, the etheric, and finally into the brain awareness.
Right. So that gets back to because if what I hear you saying is correct, every little bit of time and effort we spend interacting with each other and putting our focus on these thoughts in the lesson, all of that is injected into the consciousness of humanity as a whole.
Yes.
At that level.
Yes.
So any amount of time spent in discussion, formulating questions, interacting, and even just thinking about it or meditating about it is helping humanity.
Yes. It's raising the frequency from a very basic, clear up to the Oversoul of Humanity.
Right. Okay, do you want to say anything more about that?
We're feeding the planetary logos with these concepts from the masters.
Right.
And the master, the throat center of humanity is humanity.
Yeah.
So anytime we align with the planetary logos, we're projecting into humanity.
Yeah, so we're actually changing the atmosphere of the planet.
You betcha.
Because it's the atmosphere of the planet is the planet's aura, if I understand it correctly. It's like we have our own little atmospheres walking around in. Okay, well, there's one other question then we could finish up with, and this is the one where the idea that we have free will isn't an actuality, and in lesson 40 it says that it's imposed. The energy is imposed into the aura. So could you speak a little bit about the idea of that?
Well, to me, the aura comes from the Oversoul. When you're born, the aura is from the soul, and you're completely covered with the aura. And as you grow, then you grow into a man or a woman, and in maturity you can decide what you want to do, but you don't go very far out of what that Oversoul has put you in incarnation 4.
Right.
You can take a left-hand path, as they call it, and you'll do it, but you'll always come back into where the soul wants you to go. You have free will, you have decision. But you don't go very far off out of that aura, because the aura is your oversoul. You're its instrument.
So I can oppose that.
Yeah, and you can be very uncomfortable.
As long as I'm opposing it.
You can be a crook, or you can do anything you please, but eventually you're going to find the education of that has helped you in some way to make you a better person.
So in the end, once a person becomes a conscious soul incarnate, once the soul incarnates into the consciousness, and I recognize that, there is really, I realize I'm a pawn that's being played by a larger energies that are more advanced in their knowing.
Your oversoul.
Yeah.
And what that oversoul is working out in a group life. So you are part of that group life, which is the headquarters, or the overall group life. You are part of that. And that has manifested through the ages. You have come together in the oversoul as a group for many, many incarnations, and now here you are, ready to do a real service as a group instead of as individuals.
So the training was taking place for many incarnations.
Yeah, or we wouldn't be where we are at. We wouldn't be interested in this kind of stuff.
Yeah, so we've just been drawn into the group as previously agreed to by our soul. So does that mean we're all one soul group?
No, we're individuals.
We're individuals, but
we are all a part of the Christ.
Yeah.
Each soul is an individualized part of the Christ.
Right.
And that individuality is evolving, so that it's evolving each incarnation, and it's evolving the ashram. The ashram is growing as well as we are.
Right.
They can't move higher unless we can.
Right.
So
it's all one progressive movement.
Yeah. So it's all in layers and planes.
So then whenever I hear that a master has taken a step up or been promoted, that means humanity has elevated and expanded their consciousness.
Yeah, really. Really.
Because it's all one thing.
They've reached another evolutionary step.
Yeah.
And that's why the three masters have come together as a synthesis to synthesize humanity, because they're now ready for it, and we have the opportunity to utilize what we have in service.
And so the next age, if you want to call it that, is the age of group work.
Yes, and they say that everyone will know that they are a soul in this next 2,500 years. And that will be a big advancement.
Yeah, because
they are a soul.
And that dispels the illusion of separation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, well that's great. Thanks very much for taking the time. And
You're welcome.
Is there anything else that you wanted to add on at the end?
No, I think I hope there will be some questions because of our conversation.
Yeah.
And put them on the computer.
Yeah.
So that we can all understand them.
Yeah. Okay, well thanks again.
And thank you.